Yo, what up YouTube? Goldie back with another review here. Today we have the Pulsar X2 Crazylight from Pulsar. This mouse was generously sent to me by Lethal Gaming Gear for review, but obviously my thoughts and opinions on this are going to be my own, and I'm not really reading off a script or anything, or whatever. So whatever people like to assume. To start out with this mouse, essentially this is just an upgraded version of the Pulsar X2 V2 Mini. A lot of people are already familiar with this mouse. This time around, it does have the upgraded XS1 in-house sensor from Pulsar. It does have their newest implementation of the optical clicks, and it is significantly, not like insanely, but it is significantly lighter. It is 35 grams as opposed to, I believe, the original X2 and the X2 V2 and stuff were like low 50s. So you're talking like, in the ballpark of 15 to 20 gram weight reduction here, which is very noticeable in hand. It is definitely feeling like much less dense of a mouse. I have this cool gray and green color right here. Anyway, let's just jump into it here. The coating to me feels pretty similar to the X2 V2. I think maybe it's a little more rubberized and grippy to me, and it feels pretty good actually. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't really ever feel slippery, and I have very dry hands. I don't know if you can really see that. It feels pretty good. Not slippery at all. It's a little fingerprint magnety, but not really on this colorway. It's actually pretty hard to tell. The weight does feel noticeably less dense, especially if you're going to be fingertipping this mouse, which I think that most people are going to be doing. I can't really claw it because I have pretty large hands. I can kind of do that, but it's not really comfortable for me. I do this relaxed fingertip grip style on it, which I think works actually really well with it. It's probably one of my more preferred fingertip shapes. The clicks this time around feel, I would say, a little bit improved from some of the older Gen Pulsar mice. So if you're watching this wondering if you should get this and you like the X2 shape and what are the differences here, is this worth upgrading? The clicks do feel a little bit better. I do have a little bit of side play. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can. I have a little side play, so when you're tracking and holding down M1, if you're playing a heavy tracking game, you will sometimes get a little bit of a creak up there. You can feel the M1 or M2 moving, so that can be something that might kind of annoy people. It's not too crazy for me, not a game-breaking experience for me, and it could be a quality deviation. Not everyone might experience that. The scroll wheel feels a little different than the older mice too. It's got pretty defined notches. MMB is very spammable. Both of the clicks are very spammable, and they feel pretty good. And honestly, even if you're way back here on the mouse, it's pretty balanced in terms of how much force it requires. Well, it's obviously way nicer up front, but it's clickable back here if you're going to be like way back here. I'm more like here with it. They feel good, pretty crisp and tactile, and it's very spammable. Maybe not my favorite click feeling in the world, but which would probably go to this guy right here, the Vaccine one, which is a little more crisp. This one's a little more clacky sounding, but it's nice. The coating is nice. The side buttons are very nice as well, actually, and I don't have crazy side play on those. Very little pre or post travel on actually any of the clicks. So I think that in terms of weight, in terms of clicks, feels great. The quality feels great too. I mean, for a weight reduction on this mouse, it doesn't really feel like they sacrificed any build quality. So I mean, I think that's pretty good too. So I think it's honestly a pretty worthy upgrade over the especially if you're in the weight. The weight is going to be the most actual noticeable thing about the mouse here if you're coming from the original ones. So I think also, if you notice, the scroll wheel here is kind of a little different. I think feels pretty. It's actually a pretty nice, satisfying scroll wheel, and like I said, it's very easy to spam. It's very grippy and rubbery. I think they did a good job on that as well. So, I mean, really, there's not too much else more to say about it. Normally, I would jump into the shape a little bit more than I am, but since this is a shape that most people who would be watching a mouse review is already pretty familiar with, there's not much to say. It's a fingertip shape, in my opinion, a relaxed fingertip shape. The comfort grooves on M1, which are, can kind of barely, now you can see them, and the sidewalls are pretty nice in terms of how they nestle your fingers into place if you're going to be doing like a relaxed fingertip. If you have smaller hands, you're definitely going to be able to claw it, even palm claw it with some contact, but you're going to need smaller hands for that, I'm going to be honest. But overall, I think it's a shape that people are pretty much already familiar with. It is a very highly regarded shape for those grip styles. It works very well. And it's a mouse for if I want a relaxed fingertip and I want a pretty low weight mouse. I think that it's honestly a great option. The thing is though, this is more expensive than the older versions of the mice, which I think retailed around $100. This is now I think $120. So that is definitely something to consider. You know, do you want the weight reduction? Do you want the upgraded sensor? Those things are going to depend on your own personal preferences and needs. But in my opinion, I think it's a worthy successor to the original versions. So I hope that I, kind of covered everything here. The battery life is, it's all right. It's not bad. I don't know how big of a battery they're sporting in here. I don't know if it's bigger or smaller than the older versions in order to get that weight reduction down, but I am pretty impressed with the quality that they were able to maintain with this mouse whilst reducing the weight, and the coating they included on it is good. All the clicks are pretty solid, and overall it's a pretty good experience. So I hope that I covered everything you wanted to know. And by the way, it is pretty low profile too, so it's not a very humpy mouse. If you were to compare it to something like even like a U2, I don't think I can. Sorry, this is kind of a scuffed new camera setup. Yeah, we're not even going to try that. This is a pretty scuffed new camera setup. I'm trying to work my shit out. But anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope that I helped a little bit. If you were looking to gain a little bit more information on this mouse, peace out.